Killer. Yo, I don't know if y'all see that, but when DJ's got his head in his phone, I'm like, okay, we're gonna go live. We're going 3, 2, and I go, that means you got to look up. Welcome to another episode. Oh, that just totally went into my radio voice, didn't it, brother?
It did.
Welcome to another episode of Sales Chatter. Here we are, Monday morning, and I think we're live here. We are live. We got things happening. We're going to do Mayhem Monday, where we're going to pick the topic live on air.
Welcome to the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
This was like a NASCAR race, man. We're talking head to head. I got 1 second difference. What do you see?
I got a tie, actually.
You have a tie.
9 o'clock and 59 seconds for both. That's what I have on mine.
Okay, I have Mr. Jeff Dickinson in at 9 o'clock and 58 seconds. And then I have Lisa swooping in at 9 o'clock and 59 seconds. Thank
you, guys.
That is interesting. Thank y'all. Hey, welcome everybody to another week and another. You know what? Now is as we always say on Mondays, it's the canvas. What are you gonna paint? What are you gonna paint for this week? And DJ, I tell you, I've already got a hell of a friggin' painting going on this week. I tell you. So it's interesting, but it's the week is going to be. You got me, Jeff. Lisa says, yeah. Well, so far, yeah. I mean, we're gonna have to take the winner. So Jeff is the winner today. Yeah, exactly. So, are you ready, DJ? Let's dive right in, man, because I'm excited to see what this week holds, and we're gonna have to. I'm actually gonna have to. You know what I'm gonna do this week? I'm gonna sit down for a couple hours and create some new cards, because as much as it's 2 inches thick, I think we need it to be like 4 inches just to really get some good content out there. All right, you ready, buddy? We're gonna go from the back this time, because I tend to think DJ stops pretty quick, so we never really make it to the back.
Ready? I do. Stop right there. I want the back.
Okay, so we've done this. Map out your route for unstoppable results. Get your playbook together.
Good one.
So we did that one. Okay, so no problem. You know what? Why don't we just do?
Hey, good morning, Felicia.
Good morning, Felicia. So you know what? Let's do this. Anytime we get one that we've already done, let's just pick the one behind it.
Yeah, I like that.
Makes sense? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about next steps in your value ladder.
Ooh.
So in order to talk about, that's why I kind of said, why don't we do that one? Because that's a really cool one to talk about. So let's, first things first, DJ, before we get into next steps in the value ladder, let's just share with the audience, what is a value ladder? Because some of you might not truly understand how we start with a client on X value, whether that be, capacity, whether it be a relationship, you doing a project and getting that project done at a higher level. And then how do we increase the value? Because we know the more value we bring to the market, the more money we make, right? It's just, you go back through every philosopher in history, it all comes down to the same thing. Zig Ziglar says that help more people get what they want, you're going to get what you want. The value law of prosperity and all that. So, Bob Bird talks about it as one of the unmistakable laws in the Go-Giver, right? So, value is everything. And the value ladder is what I see as customers becoming raving fans. Customers liking what we do and saying, okay, I'm willing to open up other areas of my business. So perfect example is you come in on an LTL basis and, you're running a couple LTL shipments and customer says, okay, well, let's give you another lane. That's adding more value because you're giving them something on this lane. That's increasing them through the value ladder. Now, here's the thing. Many of us don't ever stop and say, what is my value ladder? Like if I come in on lane 1, what's my next option? What's my next option? What's my next option? And I'll give you a real life example. So my value ladder was single to small amounts of business, double, triple their volume, air, ocean, customs, warehouse. That was my value ladder. And when I reached the top of my value ladder, they were what I called the 5-star customer. Over the road, international, customs, air and ocean, and warehouse.
Yeah.
Those were my 5-star customers. So international is like ocean, all that kind of stuff. Those were my 5-star customers. So the goal with every customer was get them as far up the value ladder to become a 5-star customer as possible.
Mhm.
Some customers didn't need warehouse. They had their own, they were good. So maybe they were 4-star customers. Some of them only shipped in Canada. So maybe they were 3-star customers because they didn't need customs. Now, the thing is, just because somebody was a 3-star customer or a 5-star customer didn't mean they were any less valuable. What I still did is I walked them through to kind of give my business a 360 around their business, if that makes sense, right? So I don't want people to mistake, oh, I got 3 customers and they're only 3-star customers. I want them at 5. Some customers just will never be 5-star customers because they don't need or require that service. Exactly. So the first one is understanding what that value ladder is. The second one is understanding what are the rungs in your value ladder. And the third huge process here is what is the value you're giving in that value ladder, right? So I'll put it back to, our inception and our courses, right? So in our courses, you have the standard, you can come in, join the course, you get a year's worth of coaching, as well as inception as the program. But then the next rung in the value ladder is working with me one-on-one, right? The next rung in that value ladder is getting included into our exclusive inner circle club. The next rung in the value, and so you keep going up that value ladder to keep adding more and more education, more and more value, more and more solutions, more and more goal attainment. So that's kind of the if you will, the baseline of what a value ladder is. So I'm going to ask you all out there, because it's very important. Have you ever thought of your business in this respect? Right? And if you haven't, start looking at the services your company provides or the service you provide, and start identifying what is my entry point. Because as we all know, right, DJ, especially in today's market, your entry point is typically a load or two, right? It's usually always that point. It's usually always based
they want
on
to test
reduced...
Yeah.
Go.
No, I was just going to say, they want to test you out. So usually, it is a load or two or just a lane just to see how you're doing. So,
Yeah, even a quote, right?
Yeah.
So, and here's the thing, even a quote. So if somebody says, give me a quote, what value are you adding, right? And this is what's called a value stack. What value are you adding? So you could say, my quote is $3,000. Or you could say, my quote is $3,000. And what you get with that is you get your POD upon delivery. You get automatic updates at 8 and 4 p.m. every day. You start listing everything you're going to do for the client is what's called a value stack. So they look at it and they say, for $3,000, I'm getting all of this. Whereas this person or this other broker, for $3,000, I'm getting
just this.
Right? List your pickup and deliver. And I know some people are like, yeah, but Dan, that's normal. It is. But you see, here's the thing when it comes to the human psyche and psychology. We tend to only remember the last thing we saw. So if we saw your price for $3,000 and somebody else's price for $3,000, but below your price, we have all this other stuff that we're going to give you, even though this person might give it to us, our brain doesn't make that connection unless we consciously make that connection and say, oh, well, I'm going to call DJ and see what DJ is going to give me here. It's so that value stack, you'll see it everywhere when it comes to digital marketing, right? People are like, well, here's your course, and then we're going to give you this worth $21,000. We're going to give you this. We're going to give you this. We're going to give you this, right? And it's like, but wait, there's more, right? These are all value stacks. Like even on, and it's as crazy as it sounds, even on those infomercials, right? But wait, there's more. If you order in the next 15 minutes, we're going to double your whatever.
You get two. You get two of these.
Yeah, just pay an extra shipping and handling, right? That's a value stack.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're making it to a point where it's almost a no-brainer.
They're just making it so good you can't pass it out. That's what they're trying to do.
There you go. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You can't say no. Give them an offer they can't say no to.
Exactly. Now, if you really want, when you get into business and you start doing work with a client, if you really want to explode the business, set yourself a value ladder timeline. So say to yourself, right?
I like that.
Yeah. So, and this is a big difference between people that are consistently looking at scaling and people that only focus on the close, right? Because there's so much the close. Now, The close is the next logical step when you do the sale right.
It should be the easiest if you did everything else right. Yeah.
Exactly. What's the hardest is keeping the customer.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we do is we create a value ladder. So we say, okay, in this value ladder, and what mine was 5 loads. You call it the 5 TBB. So the 5 loads to better business. And so what happens was after 5 loads, I'd sit down with the customer and I'd say, okay, what do we do right? What do we do wrong? What can we improve on? Right. Okay. And then based on those answers, I would say, okay, can we get some more lanes? So I'm increasing the value ladder. I would do that for five loads. Depending on how well the 5 loads went, I would then go back after 5 loads and say, okay, can we talk about your rail, or can we talk about your ocean, or can we talk about something? So I was consistently setting a timeline for myself inside of my own calendar to create the next steps in the value ladder. And I found what was happening is that consistent, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What can we improve on? Was always the key to getting to that next rung, because some people might think they're doing everything right. The customer might see it as not necessarily a big enough, because you know DJ very well. Sometimes there's things that we're like, okay, that frustrates me, but we're not going to bring it up because it's not worth it. Yeah. Customers operate the same way, right? Customers have challenges they're going through that you might be causing, but it's like, well, it's just a blip, leave it alone. Like there's bigger fish to fry.
Yes.
But if you don't identify that like what adds up, and then we get gunny sacked, right? I don't know any other way to
you let that pimple sit too long, it gets infected and bad.
Nice. I love that. Let's Centurion Trucking, look at you. You're in there.
Hey, morning.
I love that. Yeah. So we have got sorry, Lisa. Boom. I like that, Jeff. Apologize and then hit the nail on that. I like that. Boom. I like that. Felicia says, good morning. Good morning, Felicia. And then Shajala.
We'll call him Shah.
I'm sorry. Shah. Good morning. Amazing. Thank you for being here. Lisa says trial shipment. 100%. Absolutely. One example, value equals growth from within. Follow the legs of the spider. Every shipment has a supplier, manufacturer, vendor. Big fan creates an even bigger lead. 100%.
Jeff, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was where I was going to dig into. I mean, it's obviously digging to see if you can add more value. A great story I had, this just proves to you how guys, if you're not asking the right questions or not making the visits, I know with COVID things totally changed, but when I was able to go visit my big customer, he's showing me around the plant. He's the shipping manager. He's not, but then I see these huge super sacks of veggies, and I'm like, hold on, dude, what are those and where are those coming in from? He's like, oh, you can do that too. I'm like, yeah, I can help you with that. What are those metal tin things over there, and what are those trucks? Oh yeah, those are our cans. Those come in. You could do that. Yes, dude. But again, if we're not asking the right questions, they don't know, because that was not his incoming, was not his shipping. Outgoing was. So again, it was, if it's not top of mind for them, and you're not qualifying or asking the right questions, you have no clue where else you can help. So yeah, you got to dig.
DJ, what you just said right there is probably one of the biggest pillars in the business. That is the reason we love face-to-face so much. So just before COVID, I had, when I was working corporately, I had a customer that was down in Texas, and we were trying to meet face-to-face, trying to meet up. And I said, why don't we just do this? Let's jump out of FaceTime. I'll walk you, because we were trying to close them on warehousing at my office. I said, what I'll do is I'll walk you through my warehouse on FaceTime. I said, then you can walk me through yours and we can compare. Now, nothing like being in person, but I'll tell you, that conversation happened 5 different times during that session.
Yeah.
Walking them through and them saying, oh my God, you do that. You do pick and pack. You do distribution. Yeah, we do. And so even though, because again, in today's world, most companies I speak to, they're cutting back on travel. They're cutting back on expenses for employees to get out, corporations, not necessarily agent wise. But corporations are saying, well, we're cutting back. Now you got to fill out all these forms to go on a trip, and if it's not worth it, or the company deems it's not worth it, you don't get to go. But there are so many tools, aka this, that you can literally walk through a customer's facility watching what they're doing and ask those questions and ask the customer if that's possible. I've done it probably a dozen times during COVID, and it's always turned out great. Like there were times when, you remember when you weren't even allowed in, well, I don't know, but were you guys ever not allowed in companies? Like did companies just completely shut down to just employees and nobody?
Oh yeah.
So that was a good time when I was doing it consistently, because customers were like, okay, this is what's going on. Okay, well, walk me through it. Let me see what's happening. And let me visually see, because visually that creates that sparks that creativity to allow us to do other things, right? I love that point, brother.
Hey,
so well said. Jeff comes back with another humdinger. Did I say humdinger? I like that. That's super cool.
Love, I love the certain things. Humdinger is a good one.
Humdinger is a great one. It's like my mother-in-law always says "holy doodle," and I love it. I'm like, Mom, I love you to death. That is so awesome. But so to your audience, what is the value you bring to the table? Have you ever really thought what yours is? Let us know. I could probably say with full transparency, probably the first, I've been in this industry almost 29 years now, probably pretty close if my math is correct. I'm going to say probably 20 of those years, never knew what my value was. Never. Just moved freight. Well, what value do you bring? And I'm like,
it was a task. And it was, this is what I had to
How many times has somebody said, what value do you bring? And you go, I'm the value. Are you really? Me. Are you really? And I just thought people liked me. They liked my energy. They liked hanging out with me. They were like, "Oh my God, Dad's funny," and I'm like, "No, I'm the value." And it's like, really, because when shit hits the fan,
nobody's laughing at that point.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like jokes ain't coming out when you lose $1 million because you can't ship the freight properly, or when stuff comes in damaged. You're like, "Hey, did I ever tell you at the time when the shit got damaged?" You're like, "Nah, I'm not interested in hearing that." Right? So it's like. And then you sit down, and here's two huge points on what Jeff says here. Yes. One, you've got to really think critically, like really dig deep. And two, once you figure out what your value is, you will never procrastinate picking up the phone again. Mm-hmm. Because once you figure that out, you know what your value is. How many times, DJ, have you felt like a telemarketer? How many times in your business have you felt when you're about to close a deal, like, what do I have that somebody else doesn't have? like why am I? And I mean, it's crazy thoughts, because you're doing well, you're closing business, and all of a sudden you're like, why? I wonder. It's kind of like Jeff Gaffigan. I don't know why. Why is that happening? I don't get it. It's crazy how our head messes with us, but it's true, Jeff. Jeff hit the nail on the head there. What is the value you bring? What do you bring to the market? And I'm not just talking about, I pick up and deliver on time. That's bullshit. Come on, come up with something better. It's like, what is the core value? Like, what is your ability? And I realized my ability and my core value was I was the best resource for customers to get their product to market, because I kept them ahead of any change curve. And that was my mission, is I would come in and I would say, my mission, my value is, I don't just come in and move your freight. I figure out what your goals are, and I put a complete process in place to help you achieve your goals by mitigating risk, mitigating shifts in the market, mitigating this. Like, I stay so far ahead of the market that when things happen, we'll already be doing it 2 weeks down the road, 3 weeks before. So, and that was the value I brought, because at that point in time, and we're talking, 10 years ago now, probably, because I've been out for a few, 10 years ago, people were like, you're going to help me achieve my goals? Like, you're not just somebody that wants to get in my wallet to move my freight. Like, it's like, and we would sit down, and this is where the timelines came in. In 60 days, this is where we're going to be. In 30 days, in 45, in 80, in 90, in 120, in 6 months, in 8 months. This is where we're going to be. This is the next 12 months of our life to march towards our goal. And I'm anal about it. Like, if you ask some people that I work with, I'm anal about timelines. Like, so anal. It's like, okay, what is the ideal client profile? What are the benefits? What are this? What are that? Because that's how it all starts with what we're going to produce in the end. So, Jeff, thank you, brother. You hit that on the head. Felicia says, love the infomercial analogy. Yeah, hey. I mean, it's true though, right? That's value stack at its finest. always ask, will you give me a tour? 100%.
Yes,
And it's a
me
huge
too,
opportunity
yes. Get a tour
to
if you
build
can.
rapport and look for opportunities. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Jeff says yes. Yeah, it is huge. Huge.
It really is. It's
Go ahead,
and
DJ.
it's about
Sorry.
time to add some value to the show, I think, is where you're going here, my friend. But is that where you're going?
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. So,
right.
well, I mean, so what were you saying there? Sorry, DJ. You mean add value?
Oh, I thought you were going to. I thought you were going to that. Another way to.
I am actually. I was. It's funny because I come back. I was just opening my email. That's why I wasn't looking at the camera. I'm opening my email and I come back and DJ says "dat lane of the day." We're always doing that. We're always doing that.
Boom.
It's funny because I looked up and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we're 20 minutes in. We better get to the lane of the day."
I see that too.
And with that being said, y'all, is that a good transition? I don't know.
Okay.
All right, everybody, here we go with the DAT IQ lane of the day. That was a total radio voice right there. You see how deep I went? I was like Earl, what's his name?
And if you don't hear this DAT lane of the day, after it records in 15 seconds, it's going to disappear. So you better not catch it out. No, I'm just kidding.
So the lane of the day today is a reefer from St. Louis, Missouri to Chicago, Illinois. Line haul rate per mile, $3.49. All in, including fuel, we're looking at $4.28. The contracted line haul rate, including fuel, is $4.72, which is quite a big increase, right? So just about 50 cents, yeah, which is huge. And I see one of those as shippers starting to come back and say, "Hey, whoa, let's have a conversation."
Yeah, they might start.
Here's the kicker, brother. Year over year, the spot line haul rate per mile is actually down 62 cents. So even at a $4.28, it's actually down 62 cents. So if you look at kind of that spike in the spot market and you're 62, I mean, you're right in there with the contracted rate, right?
Yeah.
Line haul rates are trending up after an overall declining trend of about 98 cents per mile since March. 32 cents a mile higher than the June average. So even with a 62 cents difference, we're already 32 cents higher in July than the June average. So we are coming up, but as you can see, we are pretty drastically down. And it's crazy. We've talked about this many times about how can it be so far down when fuel's so high? But so Kenneth says, absolutely. Kenneth says, I increase business every time I visit one of my biggest clients.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? We all thrive on connection, right? Just human beings thrive on connection. We thrive on that personal experience. We thrive on sitting down with somebody across the table face to face, right? This is why, COVID, especially in kids, created huge amount of mental health issues, right? And it's why governments were saying we got to open schools. We got to open schools because it's just not healthy. We're social beings, right?
We need that interaction.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and here's if I can share one thing with everyone: always, always, always try and think outside the box. So if you're in New Jersey and your customer's in California, and you might be doing a bit of LTL, and it's like, well, my company won't let me fly out there. Be creative. Hey, do you mind doing a FaceTime? I can't get out there right now. Even tell them. I mean, be honest. Like, my company has a strict, process for me to book a meeting to get out there and see you. And I'm trying to book multiple meetings to make it, a whole kit and caboodle kind of thing. Because they'll understand, right? All of their time is being spent on other places. They might want to travel to other plants that they can't. Like, everybody's in the same position, I think. And especially when it comes to supply chain, because they're putting out fires left, right, and center. Like, they became firemen overnight. You know what I mean? Firefighters overnight. And, explain to them. And then maybe just say, hey, do you mind, like, if we jump on a Zoom or we jump on a FaceTime, can you walk me through the plant? Can you walk me through the process? I might have some creative ideas. And just dive in that way. Because I'll tell you right now, they're FaceTiming their loved ones when at nighttime, if they're not at home. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's on these tech platforms now. So it's no longer, subject to, my father-in-law FaceTimes with us all the time, right? So it's no longer subject to just the kids, right? Or the younger generation, I'll say, not the kids. It's to everyone. And you know what? I jump on Zooms and FaceTimes.
I'd rather jump on a Zoom anytime we're interviewing for a guest or anything. I'd rather jump on a Zoom than it at least gives me that, because I am I want to be there. I want to see if you actually care what I'm saying. I guess I read a lot into body language, that kind of thing. So I'm figuring that, and so I like to see. But yeah, and just that personal then touch. But you brought up something too, thinking outside the box. Another great way, guys, and this is something I didn't think of. It was a shout out to a guy I met from BNI, but he used BNI and just networking. So using like strategic partners, if you're in a networking group or just people you have, maybe it has nothing to do with your business at all, but it can help them. So like, for example, he uses utilities. A vendor in there can help with utilities or payroll services or something like that. I have nothing to do with that, but if you could just make that connection and say, hey, I have a great partner as payroll. You mentioned you guys are having issues with that. Maybe they can help you transition. Oh, now you're really bringing value, and they know that you're not even, there's nothing you're doing but making a connection and helping them fix them. And the value you bring there.
Bang! You hit the nail on the head there, DJ. It's the reason we brought Mark Ridley in, because it's probably one of the last things a logistics salesperson thinks of. Hey, can I connect my customer with somebody to help them buy foreign exchange better?
Right.
Because you got to take it. If they're buying, here's the beautiful thing about it, right? Is value is exactly what you said. Value is not necessarily in that direct supply chain. Oh, I'm going to pick up from A to B. How can I add value in there? It's no. Pull out your Rolodex. I can't believe I just said pull out your Rolodex, but open up your phone to your list of contacts, and those people inside. How can they help a customer do something? And Mark Ridley is seeing more and more and more business in the logistics world, because if you get on a FaceTime with your customer and you walk through their warehouse and you're like, oh, where does that come from? Oh, that comes from Indonesia. Well, how are you buying that? Oh, I might be able to set you up with a conversion guy that can save you a point or two on the $4 million a year you spend in Indonesia. Now you've just added $300,000-$500,000 to the bottom line immediately.
Yes, because Mark is saving people crazy amounts of money when he gets involved. It's insane.
Yeah. I increase my business every time. Lisa actually has a great question here. Would you explain to the audience how to apply the lane of the day to help their sales? Perfect. Great question, Lisa.
Yes.
So the reason we decided to start the lane of the day was because the data conversation and keeping people informed as to which lane. So every day we look at North American markets and we say, what lane had the biggest shift? What lane is moving faster than every other lane from an increase, a drop, so on and so forth? What has the biggest change year over year? And the reason we bring you a lane of a day every day is the hopes that inside those lanes, you're going to have customers or sales leads that are in those lanes. So you can then take the lane of the day data and go back and say to your customer, hey, FYI, we're doing spot rates. Year over year, these spot rates have climbed 32 cents a mile. I can lock you in for X amount on dedication, or we can keep doing spot market. Right now, what we're seeing in the future is X, Y, and Z based on the data we're giving you on this show. So what it is it's the ability for us to share real life data that the best company on the planet from data creation and extraction is giving us to help you understand those markets. So also, you're working a lane this week and you're like, why is this lane so tough this week? Maybe it'll be on lane of the day and you'll be able to, that's why. Because of XYZ, this is happening. So you can go back to your customer and you could say, hey, here's a link to a show called SalesChatter. The lane of the day is actually the lane you do. Be very interesting to have a conversation about it. Let me know when you watch it. It's at, X time, whatever that time is. So that's the very important side of the lane of the day. And that's why we wanted to bring it to you every day to hopefully hopefully those lanes will fit into your puzzle of your supply chain and your customers sooner than later. Lisa also says, how can they use the lane today to prospect for new clients? So very good example. So perfect example would be, hey, I noticed that, today's lane of the day wouldn't necessarily be a perfect example because spot rates are actually higher than contracted rates, but or actually lower than contract. So it would be actually a good example because it's actually lower than contracted rates. So you can go to people in those lanes, or if you have prospects in those lanes and say, hey, by the way, there's a shift coming. Prices are dropping. Not sure if you're in contracted or if you're on spot market, but it'd be a great time to lock in to secure capacity because as prices start dropping, carriers are going to shift to different markets where prices are higher. Exactly. Right. So then again, you'll be able to utilize that data to go in and do and build that knowledge base and become a resource and build that credibility for yourself because you're paying attention to the market. Jeff says, I've built several DJ. It is extremely beneficial.
Yes. The strategic partnerships with,
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Sorry, I got lost there as to what that was.
I think Jeff, I think you introduced me to one, so thank you for that, Jeff. But yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. It's super beneficial.
I can't believe that 30 minutes is gone.
I know. It's fast, man. It's fast. Hey. Well, hopefully,
but you know what,
great
everyone?
question. Thank you.
Value ladder, get on it. Get on your value ladder. Understand.
Yes. Figure out your value and figure out where you can add value. Strategic.
Yeah, and have a plan. Every customer that's in your portfolio, you should have a 12-month plan for. And even if they are 5-star, what's the 12-month plan? Where do you want to lead them this year? Where do you want to lead them in 12 months? Where do you want to lead them in 6 months? Where do you want to lead them in 3 months? You have a project coming up. Maybe your value ladder is, where do I want our relationship to be after this program?
Yeah.
What do I need to do to bridge that gap? It's perfect.
I agree.
All right, DJ.
Lisa nailed it, brother. Lisa nailed it with that last one. So you want to throw that out? More tools in
your toolbox.
That's right. That's Monday Mayhems for y'all. So thank you for joining us as you do weekly. Nigel, hold on. Nigel jumped in. We got to throw Nigel's up there. Yeah,
my man Nigel's here. Oh, Nigel, good to see you, brother. The only difference between selling and helping is just ditching 2 letters. Do it. Nice. Yes. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that, Nigel. I might use that as a quote today.
And now you know what I'm doing. I'm looking at helping, going, which 2 letters? What am I ditching?
Well, I was wondering if you could pair something up with that too. Actually, that's funny.
Yeah, you should have a show about value, how to find yours and apply it. Yeah. That's actually I'm glad I thought of that. That's a good idea, DJ.
Yeah.
See that?
It's a good thing you thought of that, Dan.
I know. I told Jeff about that before we got on the show. I said, you can have it, buddy. You can come back with a comment and you can have that. Thank you, Felicia. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for joining.
Jeff, thank you for that suggestion, brother.
Yes,
thank
you.
We're going to actually do that.
We are live Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. till 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Start your day right with us, SalesChatter Live. If you are watching us live, like and below down on YouTube. Like and subscribe down below. I'll explain what I'm on next. All right. Nigel's still coming in. We got to have you on again, Nigel, by the way. So hopefully we'll reach out to you soon about that.
Do you see how Nigel plugged that? Now, guess what? Now we got to bring Nigel on because he hit us up.
We have to bring him on for the value. We have to bring him on for when we talk about value. So let's work that out. Thank you to American Logistics Centurion Trucking. I seen Centurion. Thank you for the comment today. We want to put that back up. And hey guys, today's going to be a great week. Make it a great week. It's your choice. Choose to make it a great week, y'all. Great quote I seen from somebody. So I knew it sounded familiar, but he used his own words, so I'm going to use his exactly. Was Matt Gray. Shout out to you. What you don't change, you choose. Choose carefully.
Centurion Trucking. Our motto is people before profit. Today's market requires more transparency, consistency, and focus on what our clients need to win. Centurion Trucking and American Logistics are poised to help their clients achieve and surpass their targets. If you're looking for a team that honors your needs, dreams, and aspirations, then get a hold of Daman at American Logistics or Centurion